Hello YouTube, this is me FuzzyCow, and I wanted to show you this deck. This deck is based on a very bad idea of not being able to damage my Pokemon. First card in this deck is Minccino. Minccino has a very good ability called Call for Family as its attack. It allows me to take a basic Pokemon out of my deck and put it on my bench. I can also evolve it into Minccino later in the game. This one, the only use is Smooth Coat. I can stall, and with this one retreat cost, I have a chance of not taking damage with the stall. The other main attacker is Mienfoo. Mienfoo and Mienshao are the basis of the deck. They have 60 health points, which is important to note because that's kind of all my basic Pokemon's health points. Mienfoo has 90, which is another key note. I can use Arrow Turn, which means I pick it up and all the cards attached to it and put it in my hand. I can use High Jump Kick, but I usually don't. Shelmet, I have two of them. This Shelmet here is from Furious Fists. The other Shelmet is good because it's Yawn. It has Yawn, so it could potentially stall longer. Shelmet evolves into Excelgor, which is pretty good. It has Raid, which can potentially do 60 plus 20 from the Muscle Band. Mainly I'm going to be using After Image Strike, so it cannot be damaged. That's the Pokemon, so now let's talk about the trainers. The first trainer is Evosoda. I have a lot of Stage 1 Pokemon that I need to get out, and that's the basis of the deck. Sacred Ash is great because I only have 2 Excelgor, which is kind of scary. Super Scoop Up works well with Excelgor as well. Also, it gets Pokemon out of the way. Switch allows me to be flexible, which is very important. Ultra Ball allows me to get the Pokemon that I need. I do need a lot of Pokemon. Charon's a good draw card in the early game. It accelerates me out. Lysander is one of the best cards in the format, so I like to put it in there so I can catch them off guard. N is great because it allows me to accelerate in the start, so I can use that. Professor Sycamore also allows me to start, and I can discard cards from my hand if I don't like them. Pokemon Fan Club is wonderful because I need to get out my 2 Mienfoo, and to get out the 2 Mienshao and get a Muscle Band, and then my deck is ready to go with this main strategy. I run 6 Fighting Energy and 6 Leaf Energy because it's good to have. I do run 1 Herbal just because I think it's fun to play. Now we're going to jump into a game with Sar4ak. What you're going to see me try to do with this deck is I'm going to try to form a lock against my opponent, make it so they can't deal damage, and whatever damage is dealt is either avoided with the Mienshao combo or having the damage reflected with the After Image Strike from the Excelgor. So I'm going to start out with my Mienfoo. I love starting out with Mienfoo. Shelmet's also pretty good. I don't have very much in my hand in the way of getting my Stage 1s out, so I'm kind of worried, but I do have the Sycamore, so I'm looking forward to using that. I do draw a wonderful Evosoda, so now I'm going to get my Mienfoo out. I feel fairly confident. This might be a mistake, but I'm going to take out the Yveltal so I can start working on that instead of worrying about the Inkay. Next turn I'm all set up to get, but he uses his Team Flare Grunts in a very effective way to get rid of my 1 energy. Now I do draw the Mienfoo, which is great. I'm also able to get a Mienfoo off on the bench, which is great. And now I can draw, but I do not find my fighting energy. So unfortunately, things aren't working out perfectly. My grass energy I'm going to attach just to attach. Energy attachments is very important in this deck as you don't get very many opportunities. The Mienfoo causes your board to stall, and so every opportunity you can add extra energy is very key. In terms of the board, it's very important to note that if I get 1 more Mienfoo out, I'm able to get the stream of continuous Mienshao into the active slot, but I'm kind of fishing for the Excelgor because right now the Yveltal has a resistance to my Mienfoo, so I'm going to fish for the Excelgor. I do get the Mienfoo, so my board is basically ready. I'm ready to start. Now this is a pretty key moment. I make a mistake by not attaching that energy to the Excelgor and using After Image Strike for the 50% chance that his next move won't hit. He has the opportunity to knock out my Excelgor now, and so I'm kind of worried about that as the entire bench he resists, so if my damage will be reduced by a lot. I do have the extra energy in hand. One thing this deck does have a problem with is Pokemon Center Lady, which he just played right there. Pokemon Center Lady is really bad against my deck, or really strong against my deck, because my deck doesn't do a lot of damage. It deals 60 damage each turn, but in this case I'm only dealing 40 due to Yveltal's resistance. As you can see, I now have a Mienshao into the bench, or into the active spot. This means that he has to summon 90 damage to knock it out. Luckily he can't because he flipped tails last time, so that's nice. So things are going okay. I don't feel confident because of that resistance. Also, the Yveltal on the bench is scary. She does something kind of weird here. She tries to get rid of some of my cards. Okay, that's nice. I'm just going to take this prize. I don't think this was the best move, but maybe it was just allowing her to stall a little longer. I don't know what was in her hand. I don't know what she had, but I don't think that that was perhaps the greatest. This right here was amazing. I did not see the red card coming. Getting me to use my my Shao and put it out on my hands and then red carding it away was a great move. It's perfect strategy against this deck. Late in the game, ends become a liability for me, especially with my large hand size that I accumulate. So right now I'm kind of worried because I no longer have my fighting energy. I no longer have my second Mind Shao on the bench ready to go. So things aren't great, but I'm able to start my search for all of the great things that I need in my deck. I get out the second Excelgor. This one really can't go down. Because if it does go down, well, there goes my main way of dealing lots of damage to this Yveltal. And by lots, I mean 40. So as you can, there's really not much damage that this deck does, and that's one of its problems. But it is a lock, so once you get it up, usually it doesn't matter if you don't deal a lot of damage. You just deal it over long periods of time and it will eventually work out for you. So things are looking pretty bad for me right now. I'm basically relying on this Excelgor to carry me home. I do have the Shinshino and I chop decked the Professor Juniper, so I now have a new hand, including the fighting energy and the energy needed to get that after image strike on the Excelgor. I'm retreating the Mind Shao in order to get the damage off the Mind Shao by putting it back in my hands. And I'm putting out this Shinshino. The Shinshino can block hopefully with the soft fur. And if it does, then I can stall a little bit longer, be a little bit safer. Unfortunately, it does not work, so my stall tactics end, and I have to send out my one and only hope, this Excelgor. Excelgor is the only Pokemon that can deal some real damage to this Yveltal, and I have to use After Image Strike to potentially make it so that I can keep him alive. If he dies, then I don't really know what my plan is. I can deal 20 damage to him per turn at that point, but I'll be leaking prizes pretty badly. I sets out a Kakarot, and the big question is, do I survive this next strike? Does After Image Strike work? So he's going to heal up, make it harder for me. He's also going to put down the Hard Charm. The Hard Charm basically makes it so that I can no longer knock out this Yveltal. The After Image Strike does not work. Damage goes through, so the game is over. My Mind Shaos do a grand total of 0 damage to this Yveltal, and with that Hard Charm attached, and with the Muscle Band, I'm able to do 20. This will take a long time, so the game is over. I'm basically fishing at this point, but I need the Grass Energy attached to the Shelmet, and I also need to get a Yveltal, so I need too many cards in too short a time. The game's over. I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you, Sar4ak. I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and I hope you had a good day. Thank you.